Namaste, everyone. Right. So we have got a beautiful topic. We've, we're discussing age of disinformation and evolving identities. Right. So, like, if I just tell you, just to even understand one sentence of this, we took years and we evolved over the period. Right. Like we went through different phases, we went through different life or journey that we have comprehend with this sentence. Well, I'll just start a bit of my journey. Like I'll just share some of my journey with you all. So what happened that in grade 7th, I got exposed to Model UN and youth parliaments. And believe me, I was one of the kids who used to, get very hesitant about even asking a question to the teacher. So what happened over the years when I participated? It was a 2-day conference, and trust in me, I just went there because my fellow mates were there, and I could not even speak for a day, or even the second day. But slowly, eventually, uh, I started speaking, I started participating, and that is how I embarked my journey. Now, it's been, after a few years, I'll be crossing a decade in, educating students about modern UN and youth parliaments, and that is how we are going right now. Apart from this, the age of disinformation. Well, the age of disinformation is one part that already exists in the journey. It is not about only social media. As I see, most of you are working professionals, even in your corporate households, even in your working professionals' life, the disinformation lies everywhere. So disinformation is something an integral part of the journey, and one has to understand that it is a part of us. Social media is one of the distractors because, of course, we have made our life dependent on a social media. Without one phone, we cannot even operate, and that is something sad. But that is also advantages for us. Many opportunities is something that we are getting into it. But the sole purpose is that how do we utilize it? Many brands, why do they do it? Brands do it to make money out of it. Now, if the brands are making money, they're also doing CSR. Do you know about CSR, corporate social responsibility? They're also doing it. So like we do not see the end result of how they're doing, of what is been arrived, and what is the deliverable that ultimately happens. Now, in this information, when it talk about in the group of students, in the era of social media, we also occur to see that how we get advantages of things, that we get opinions, we get poisonous comments, and that is something lifts me up as well. And most of you, if I'll be very honest, criticism and failures are the best teachers that can teach you, and that is something I personally believe that stands very strong. Now, evolution identities. Now, over the period, if I just tell you, identification is something very subjective in nature, right? If I tell you 4 years back I wanted to be a lawyer, but when I managed so many people, when I was touching upon so many social aspects, I inclined myself being a management student, being a person who helps in social work, and that is how I identified myself. And I'm still in the journey of identify new and get involved with new things. But experience is one thing that would lead you not even with one perspective, but it's gonna give a big horizon to your understandings. And that is the beauty of the journey. Now, what happens when we're talking about disinformation? Disinformation is one thing that would restrict you as well. When I say that, oh, okay, you cannot crack this examination, but you ultimately like get scared and you can't do it. I come from Assam. In Assam, most of the people now they're everywhere. People from Northeast are everywhere. But few decades back, the Northeast participation in India was, far behind. And now, just because they have the courage, they've been doing it. And the best part was that we have seen and witnessed is they have taken the step. Now, it's humanity. It's humanity. People from Northeast, people from South India, people from Kashmir or West India, they're, they're all one. We we as a human, we have evolved identifications. Identification is something on vast scale. It could be your religion, it could be your professional life, it could be your interest, but identification goes on a different parameters and levels. The main part is who do you want to prioritize and who do you want to identify as. I will speak on the most crucial part that I follow in life is 33% rule, right? So like, it's wonderful to see you all. You've been exposed to such platforms at such a young age, but 33% of life is something I follow personally, and that is something is leading me to grow. It's been a couple of years that I've been doing this. So 33% rule is something very simple. So one of my mentors taught about this. So 33 stands the 100% of the time you get. Allocate your 33 in three parts, and one of the 1% give it to yourself. Now, the first 33% is basically the time spent with the peers with the same mindset is something that will lead you to have one perspective. The second is that go and talk to your mentors, talk to your parents, talk to your teachers, and it's going to give you one horizon. Now, the last 33% will touch upon that you speak to the house heads, you speak to the people who are socially inclined, and people with distress. Now, what ultimately will this give you? This will give you a horizon of perspectives. Now, in one day, if you're interacting with three different parameters, three different sector of people, what happens? It is very realistic first, and secondly, it is very much developing in nature. You get to meet, you get to see perspectives, and you get to know how people perceive. Now, when you will be in one of the stages in future, it will be better for you to perceive and make better decisions. If I talk about the social parameters that one goes through in order to live up to the expectation of the society, is where there's a barrier of evolving identity as well. There are so many people who failed to do something, but what is the status of failure? The status of failure is not because of the marks you get or to the expectations that it has led upon the society. But the most importantly is that you were satisfied in the entire journey and you've learned something. As I said earlier, that failures and experiences is one thing that will give you the most learnings. And one should never stop learning. One should never stop because of the disinformation spread. We are smart people. If I tell you, if we know, if we can teach our dads how to use a smartphone, and how they can pick up the video call, so we can also teach them how to tackle the disinformation that we are all going through. We already, as previous bright speakers have already spoken upon and touched upon that how the companies, how the media agency, how the age of disinformation is leading slowly and slowly to a bigger pace. But with same humanity, with same intelligence, as we all are in one society, we can also tackle this big problem, and that is only possible when the society as whole is able to recollect, speak on, and spread information correctly. No one takes advantage of the misinformation spread, and be a good human, be a man of, be a person, be a human of values than being a person of success. And that is the most important thing aspect I believe in. And one thing is the most important that my very close person told me that social media isn't everything, and I evolved over the period. It's been a couple of months. I've been implementing this rule in my life that okay, a concerned person of my life has taught me that social media isn't everything, because when you of course like the validation of social media when you're getting likes, shares, and everything, but eventually with the understanding that the person made has evolved my perspectives. And for some people who are content creators, it'd be a living for them. So now what I've concluded, that subjectivity is one thing that should have the acceptance of. And people should have acceptance of different subjects, people with different perspectives, with different ideas and ideologies, and people should not restrict themselves to have a learning flow. That was me, Chandra Aditya Raha. You've been a wonderful audience. Thank you. Jai Hind. Jai Bharat.